My friends, in Kenya, there is a tribe that goes by the name the Maasai. Even in today's time, they retain their traditional greeting when they confront one another, Sesaria Nangeri, which means, how are the children? Yes. They ask this question because they believe that the viability of any people is rooted in how well the children are doing. That's right. That's right. As a mother, I share this sentiment with the Maasai people. And so I ask you today, how are the children? How are the children when 64,000 black women and girls are missing in America? Yes. How are the children when over 16 million children live in poverty every day in America? How are the children when 10,000 children die from gun violence every year in this country? How are the children? How are the children when over 300,000 children are sex trafficked nationally every year, with 63% of them being sold over the internet? How are the children? How are the children in Syria in the face of chemical warfare? How are the children in the Sudan in the face of a famine? How are the children in Afghanistan when we drop the mother of all bombs? How are the children? How are the children who are languishing in Palestinian refugee camps? How are the children at Standing Rock and at Flint whose water is in jeopardy? How are the children? How are the children who have no food to eat and no clean water to drink and nowhere to lay their heads in a country where none of this is scarce? How are the children? How are the children of Eric Garner? How are the children of all those who've been killed by police violence? How are the children of Officers Brett Thompson and Patrick Zampira and Michael Kroll and Mike Smith and Lauren Aarons, whose children were left behind when Mike Johnson killed police officers in Dallas? How are the children?
Amen.
Yes. How are the children when we fail to pass health care bills? How are the children when their parents are being deported just for trying to make a better life for their children? How are their children? Not just how are your children, President Trump? How are our children? Not just how are your children, Paul Ryan? How are our children? How are all of the children? In the 19th chapter of Matthew, Scripture tells us that Jesus was teaching a multitude about faithfulness. And parents began to bring their children to him to be blessed. And the disciples objected. They thought it was out of order to expect Jesus to stop talking and to start touching. But Jesus said, "Let the little children come. Don't hinder them, for such belongs the kingdom of heaven." What does it mean, my friends, for us to be those who let the little children come? What might it look like if our churches and our government and all of our policy makers, what might it look like if we took a vow not to hinder the health and the well-being and the pursuit of excellence for all children? What would it mean if we talked less and we touched more? I wonder how this nation might be transformed. Instead of lauding our politicians and lauding our civil servants, that we began addressing them first with the greeting that the Maasai uses. I wonder, would it make a difference if all of our questions and all of our actions had at the front, how are our children? I wonder what it would be like if every adult among us, parent and non-parent alike, felt an equal weight of responsibility to care for and protect the children? What would it be like if every presidential address began with this question, Mr. President, how are the children? What would it be like if every religious leadership began this way, Your Excellency, how are the children? What if our denominational leadership always began every meeting with this question, how are the children? What if we asked our governors and our mayors and our teachers and our law enforcement and everyone who has taken an oath to serve, how are the children? I ask you today, let us be courageous enough to examine our present, to see and not unsee, to hear and not unhear, to do all we can to hinder, to stop hindering, and to ask ourselves, how are the children? Because I assure you, my friends, the answer is our children are not well. Lord, in your mercy, for the sake of our children, hear our prayers. Amen.